Woo! So, it's been 2 months since I last played Silent Hill F. Whoops. Wasn't really my intention, but I don't regret it either because one, I went off and did a game jam and I made another visual novel called I put the emphasis on the wrong syllables there. That was weird. I made a new visual novel called 3 Days to Live, and I'm pretty happy with that. Also, an update came out to this game that specifically tweaked the New Game Plus experience a fair bit. The goal was to make it go a bit faster and smoother in subsequent playthroughs. They made it so you can apparently just skip a really long combat gauntlet in subsequent playthroughs that just doesn't really have story content in it. It's just a bunch of combat. You can... they made it so I think you're supposed to be able to skip more of the booby fights, where they just make you fight Titty Monster 500 times, and you always get stuck, and you can't go anywhere until you beat them, and it's like, that just gets old. I was really worried about getting the other endings of this game, because I was like, so much of this game is a linear combat gauntlet that has almost no story going on, which is not what you expect from a Silent Hill. It's not what you expect from a game that expects you to play it several times for multiple endings and so on. So that's weird. So some of that's been assuaged. Additionally, I also figure that I'm going to probably continue forward in easy combat difficulty, which apparently is how most people play the game. I think I saw the achievement list and it was like straight up like 4 times as many people beat the game on story difficulty than on hard difficulty, even though hard difficulty is like, says for people that are experienced or whatever. And I'm like, aren't Silent Hill fans experienced with Silent Hill games because they've played 3 to 8 of them already? Is what I would guess. So I thought that people would treat hard as the default. Supposedly, according to what people have told me, supposedly story combat difficulty is the default and hard puzzle difficulty is the default. That annoys I gotta say that annoys the shit out of me. I'm already not crazy about difficulty settings to some extent. I think that they're fine as like an accessibility thing, but I do think it's kind of rough talking about a game and not being able to agree on what the game is like because everyone just plays a different game than each other. So like when I talk about the game being way too combat heavy and kind of a drag, and it's because I played the one that's for vaguely experienced people or whatever, and then other people just blaze at the game in a difficulty where you barely have to try. I'm like, well, the reason why you don't feel the same way as me is because we played 2 different video games, which is a bit of a bummer on that standpoint. But in particular, in this case, I'm just like, we used to have a word. I say we used to. I feel like I sound like a weird reactionary for some reason. Like, oh, back in my day. No, it's true. It's still true now. It's just this game weirdly doesn't do it. We have a word for the default difficulty. It's called normal. Why don't they just have normal difficulties and have the intended experience be those difficulties, and then we don't have to debate what the intended experience is? Because yeah, like the other Silent Hills have hard combat difficulties available, but I specifically avoided them in those games because whenever I saw gameplay of like Silent Hill 2 hard difficulty boss fights, it was just a guy just wailing on a dude for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, that looks really boring. That doesn't look like a skill challenge. That just looks tedious and annoying. But this game seemed to be really about the combat on some level, and hard really seemed like the intended difficulty, mainly because story is previously a difficulty setting that was introduced in games like Mass Effect and I think Soma to essentially be easy or even sometimes no combat difficulty but like in a less condescending package. They called it story difficulty. So there's basically no video game that I've ever played where story difficulty is the intended experience. It's well, I'm not going to get through this if I have to do the combat experience. So naming the story difficulty, calling it story, and then apparently having that be the intended difficulty, if people are right about that, just seems really misguided and weird, like just not what those words tend to mean. But it's also like, if the game's intended experience is to have the combat not be that much of an element of the game and instead just emphasize the story, then why does the actual design of the campaign emphasize the combat so much over the story? Because I pointed that out when I was playing it. I'm like, this is kind of starting to drag. I kind of want to have more story developments happen and stuff, and less giant combat gauntlets in this Japanese castle that's sort of an abstract location and so on. Anyway, the I'm really interested in seeing where this goes, though, because I was really captivated by the story of this game, and I want to see where it additionally goes. Because what we've seen so far, and hopefully I haven't forgotten too much in the time since, because I'm just busy, have a whole life to deal with. Hopefully I haven't forgotten too much. But I do particularly remember, like, I had all these different theories going on about what exactly was going on with the characters and what the implication was between all the different people and how everyone's talking past each other and thinking past each other. And, like, there's so many things going on with the dynamics between everybody. But in particular, they end on a really not disappointing, and, like, intentionally unsatisfying note in that it's just not an ending. Seemingly out of nowhere, she's just there's just an outpouring of pills everywhere, and it's trying to make it really clear seemingly out of nowhere. Like, I'm sure that if you look back, there's like hints at elements of this throughout and so on, but it just was not where it's not where I was at all narratively when I was interpreting stuff. It definitely felt like a little bit of something was up, maybe with the pills, but like they talked about her having headaches and taking those sometimes. The pills were just suddenly everywhere, and it's like, and suddenly it's framing her as an addict, and that being her issue, and that might color her interpretation of every single character in the story. Like, she might lash out towards people and have a victim complex and think that people are out to get her because they might be in some way trying to get in the way of her habit or something like that. Or there might, and her addiction could be affecting how she treats people and treats herself, and how she reacts to people that try to help her potentially. So, like, I'm curious how much New Game Plus changes, in particular because the immediate thing that's implicated by these endings is that they even just say, don't take the red capsules in, like, all of them, basically. And it's like, okay, so the moment we were taking the red capsules, we were in a state of sort of delusion, potentially. Like, they could be, like, the like, feeding the addiction could be warping our perception of things. And the implication of, and this is also interesting for the fact that, like, we couldn't do any other ending. In most Silent Hill games, you can do several different endings in your first playthrough. Silent Hill 3, I think, is the only exception. Silent Hill 3, you have to get the one canon ending on your first playthrough, and then you have to play it again, and then there's different conditions for how to get different playthroughs in your subsequent playthroughs. But in most games, there's some sort of weird esoteric element going on that determines what ending you get, and it's almost always a unique, new condition that's never been in any other Silent Hill game. So the rules change every game, basically, which is really interesting, to the point where, like, they have, like, hidden scores in the background of, like, some kind of, like, darkness meter that's filling up if you, like, look at the knife in your inventory too long, or you kill too many enemies and stuff like that. There's just, like, a bunch of weird conditions for that stuff a lot of the time. Here it looks like we do quests, because it's like, it's about finding the sacred sword, then purifying it or not purifying it, while also not taking the red capsules. So we have pretty concrete goals here that are very achievable. I don't know how to do them, but I mean, like, we have a stated goal as opposed to the abstract concept of the game trying to psychoanalyze us. In some cases, literally, because one of them, Shattered Memories, was about therapy. Like, it was a live therapy session, and the game was changing in real time based on your interactions and so on. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because it might be that us not taking the pills can go one of two ways. It could be that we straight up just see more of the truth this time, because maybe they were, I don't know, psychoactive or something. Like, maybe something about taking them was leading to us not being able to see the reality the way it is, because we don't exactly know what the pills are, I don't think. So it could be that not taking the pills gives us the real world a bit more and lets us see a bunch of stuff that we didn't see before, in addition to the fact that we're now playing the second playthrough of a game that confused us the first time, and being able to pick up more nuance and things that mean different things the second time around and so on. Alternatively, when you have somebody just stop taking a thing and go cold turkey, it could actually have really detrimental effects on our character. She could really be struggling and really itching for it all the time if we force her not to take the thing that she's been habitually taking all the time, and then she just hard stops the moment the player starts taking control of her. So it's hard to say where they're going to go with that exactly. Do I hit continue? New Game Plus. Okay, that seems to be true there. So we're gonna do action, story, puzzles, Lost in the Fog. I think I would like to see, because we've already solved them once, and I think there might be roughly the same puzzles. I'm curious to see if what the Lost in the Fog versions of puzzles are, and that might be fun. And then after that, I'll probably switch to easy story difficulty on puzzles after that, because I will have already done them at that point, so we might as well just not drag it out anymore. We have the white and the black outfits. So we could somewhat change. Yeah, it's not a crazy different outfit, I guess. Do I care about wearing white versus black? Sure, why not? Because we're not taking any pills. This is our pure playthrough. That was a long intro, but it happens. I'm a little worried that the audio might not be working because I haven't heard any yet. Ah, damn it. Why is there no audio? Ah, there we go. Okay, I hate when my paranoia is right.
Hey, did you know that when a girl grows up, she has to get married? It's her job.
It's not a job. Don't you want to get married, Hinako?
I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't sound fun when Daddy talks about it.
Kind of like homework, huh?
If he tells me I have to, then I don't wanna.
It's surprising that the implication is that the dad doesn't like it.
Junko, did something happen? Just reminiscing a little. About, you know, when we were kids, you always looked out for me. Hinako, Here, this is for you. It's beautiful. Thank you.
It's suspicious that you can't see her face. Like, I think we've maybe never seen her face, so maybe the entire game, it was always the one that we see later on, where she has like a mask. Ooh, one little flash of the other world. That didn't happen last time, did it?
It's that we will decide everything from here on out.
But dear, what about how Hinako feels?
We're never gonna get another chance like this. What could possibly make Hinako happier? Nothing. Where do you think you're going? We're not done here, young lady.
But still, who would have guessed that Hinako would?
She's going to do as she's told for once and help me pay off this debt. We won't have to worry about money ever again.
Darling, please, keep it down. Hinako will hear you.
There's no way. Never.
You'll ever pay off the debt? I'm going to be a little insufferable in that I'm not great at remembering details when I replay the same thing and I know that some of it might change. It's really hard for me to be sure which things changed. And it's hard to distinguish the difference between dialogue that changed because you're playing a second playthrough where stuff changes versus like stuff that changes meaning or you have more interpretation for now the second time around. Oh, okay, the left stick is run. I was like, where the hell's the run? I was trying to pull the trigger and all these other buttons. Formidable foes. Oh yeah, the final boss from last time. An intimidating monster that appears in Shiromuku, a traditional white wedding kimono. It uses their grand fox arm to compel others to obey. It looks down on me and denies my existence, but at the same time it pities me, like it thinks it's better than me or something. Don't look down on me. You're no better. That was... So it looks like we have all of our old journal stuff in here, which is a great quality of life thing for being able to tell which stuff is actually new. For people like me that are addled and can't tell the difference. See, I'm not quite sure what shape the second playthrough is going to have. Kind of poking around, seeing what may have changed. This kind of was always just a dead end, wasn't it?
Slides blocked off the path. Used to climb up there.
Mushrooms. Yeah, it's hard to piece together what they're talking about, but yeah, it's interesting to me that his dialogue is about like what could make Hinako happier. Like they're really fixated on implying that he's actually trying to help her in some way. Granted, people warp stuff in crazy ways and say that about things that are actually self-serving, but given how it seems like they're the ones that are sad and sobbing when we show up, and then we show up as a big monster, the game heavily suggests that there are two Hinakos. I mean, they're literally, we play as two different Hinakos. And it keeps not resolving the question of, like, what's going on with the way that we bounce between the two perspectives. I thought we were one character, because they do generally show it those sequences when you get knocked out or something. So generally speaking, I was like, oh, we're, like, experiencing some dream world when we get knocked out. Local doctor's note. A fox wedding is a common expression used for times when it rains while the sun is still shining. According to the older folk here in Ebisugaoka, however, they also use this expression for when a young girl was spirited away. Folklore pertaining to gods and spirits becoming infatuated with human women is not something unique to Japan and can be found across the world. Ebisugaoka is no exception to this. Even here, there are old tales of young girls being taken away on a fox's wedding and disappearing forever. During the Meiji and Taisho periods, the town elders would apparently reassure the families of their missing daughters that had been swept away by a fox lord are now enjoying a life of luxury without care. When a child goes missing or is kidnapped, basically, they would essentially cope by calling it a fox's wedding. So then is the Fox's wedding
Yes, I'll pray.
in the dark storylines a metaphor for them feeling like they lost her to the narcotics? This disconnect? Oh my god, all these saves are still here in the same run? That seems unfortunate to me. Don't currently have anything to enshrine. Don't have any faith to spend. So we remain relatively high level.
What should I do?
So combat should be kind of chill this time around. I don't feel the need to prove myself by doing an ult again. When I did it before, it'll just make the playthrough way longer. A woman is only complete when she's loved, featuring the latest fashion for young women so pure they even make flowers blush. Making at this time of day? Why would your purity make flowers blush? Research notes on exotic herbology. Although the most famous translated Western medical books remains the New Text on Anatomy, there was a peculiar work by the name of Exotic Herbology published in the 5th year of the Ane era, 1776 AD. Strange as the text was, it has been largely forgotten by history. A foreign missionary brought this text to Japan along with a curious medicine that would supposedly allow one to speak with divine spirits. This drug came to be known as Kakura Makakura by locals. However, in order to have contact with the gods, one must first liberate one's soul. However, upon doing so, it's weird to have two different sentences end with in a row with start with a however. However, upon doing so, the individual will fall into a temporary state of unconsciousness, potentially leaving them vulnerable to malevolent spirits. So it kind of mirrors the original interpretation of the story, which was that she was bouncing back and forth between these two settings whenever she lost consciousness. Oh, creepy sound. There a path up here too? That door is open too. That door was not open last time. I couldn't go really anywhere last time.
The fox god's enshrined all over the place.
It is. That one's got no head. I think he's gonna be mad about that. I assume that all the text documents are new, and that it remembers which ones I got last time and isn't gonna show them again. But the fox wedding note is the kind of thing where it's like, I could have got that last time and just not had context for it yet. But I think it's just new. This house is just open. Need a key. So I gotta be careful. If I use a single red pill, then I fail getting any of the new endings. So I need to remember not to do that. It shouldn't be super hard, because I think you can just unequip items. And I think once you unequip them, picking them up doesn't auto-equip them. So it'll just stay unequipped the entire playthrough from my hotbars. Research Journal Photo 1. A photo attached to a research journal. It appears to be a clue collected by a researcher investigating the folklore of Ebisugaoka. Where is that? Looks like 0-1 in the top corner. The red smudge almost looks like a 2, but it's disconnected weirdly. So I'm not sure if that's what it's going for. There's a squiggle and a line, then an arrow, and then obviously a giant circle. Like by a house and a fence. It's so blurry it's hard to make out. Regarding the legend of the sacred sword. However, it is said the sword's animosity continued to grow, even as it remained buried under the earth. So the people erected a sacred barrier around it, using Jizo statues as anchors. If one wished to find the sword, they should start by looking for these Jizo statues first. It appears that the barrier works by creating a spiritual harmony that inhibits the sword's animosity. Harmony? Yin and yang? The 5 elements of Wushang? During this period, it was thought that everything was composed of 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Therefore, 5 was a number associated with harmony. In other words, there should be 5 Jizo statues. Are 5 such statues located in this town? I expect tracking them down will provide a tremendous task. What is a Jizo statue? I've heard of it before, and I've probably seen it before in Yakuza and so on. But like, which specific one is what looks like that? Oh, it's just kind of a guy. Yeah. It's just like the sort of little like bald-headed stone little guy, like a little monk guy. There's a fair bit of variance in the search results here for what it can seemingly look like. Okay,
Maybe the old Jizo-sama in town? I'll take a look.
Jizo-sama? It's listed as a puzzle. I better go see whether there's an Ojiso-san in town. Is that a sort of personification of the... Oh, all these pages are here now for the sacred sword. Come to think of it, the local elders were talking about a folklorist from Tokyo who came to Ebisugaoka to research the legend of the sacred sword. They said that Ebisugaoka was a hidden village that once served as refuge for defeated soldiers of the Taira clan. Unfortunately, evidence to support this tale is yet to be found. Still, Ebisugaoka shares many cultural similarities with those of other hidden villages, and it is my belief that this tale is true. According to other local legends, the soldiers who fled here vowed to exact revenge upon the Minamoto clan and restore the Taira clan to its former glory. Upon swearing this oath, they buried the sword of their deceased leader at the base of the great tree that serves to protect this land. It'd be a historical breakthrough if we could find that sword. I assume this is all leading to the shrine I found at the end of last playthrough. That was like the sort of abandoned older one. In particular, it had a little stone water basin thing that was talked about as being a place for cleansing tools, and how that was like a ritual they would regularly take part in back in the day. But now it's like the outdated shrine that isn't really being visited by anybody. So I probably need to find the sacred sword and then bring it there in order to get the ending for cleansing the sword. But there's also one for not cleansing the sword, which sounds way easier. You just don't do that. Are they just updating the other pages? It's weird that the notifications fill in the old pages in the wrong order, kind of. I'm in your house. I need a key. I need 2 keys. I'm definitely feeling encouraged by the fact there's already new stuff going on a lot in what was previously a pretty sparse part of the game. They just kind of wandered through. The only reason it took me a long time to get through this part last time was because I sat there and talked about marriage for like 20 minutes, I think. 3 things that need keys. Do they all need the same key, or are keys a disposable resource? I don't remember there being keys everywhere for little lockboxes in the previous playthrough, but maybe they introduced that in New Game Plus. That is always really interesting. Like, if a game's gonna have you play over and over again, I think that one of the most interesting things you can do is layer on the new mechanics that are gonna be present throughout the entire playthrough to make each playthrough more interesting. Kind of like how Peak handles difficulty, but also on like even that one. Oh, that's the one back there. There's how Peak handles difficulty, but there's also like Pathologic, one of the most interesting games of all time that I bring up all the time. It has its own flaws, obviously, but one of the great things about Pathologic is the fact that, like, each of the 3 playthroughs you play as one of 3 different characters, and each of those characters has completely different mechanics, and so you're not just replaying the same days on the same map, like, for the sake of repetition. Like, there's so much context changing. A woman's magazine. My father isn't fond of seeing these around. This is from Sakuko, but it's too cute for me. It's too cute for me? It's from Sakuko? Yeah, that's Sakuko. That's what I thought. It's from Sakuko, but it's too cute for me. Why is it in this house? It's from Sakuko, but it's too cute for me. My father doesn't like to see these around. Is this your room? It's not your house. Is she stowing away in a different house for stuff? Isn't that cute? Is that the dress the doll was wearing in the flashback? There's a drawing of 5 family members, and I think does the gate that's drawn imply that they're dead? Seems like less like family members and 5 friends? Their children? Like, it could almost be the four main characters of this game, like the 4 teenagers, and then my older sister, maybe? Making some grasping reaches here. That's just a little farmyard outside. Need a key. Oh my goodness, they're everywhere. I won't open other keys. They're just making me feel insane about not having keys right now. There's nothing in there? Oh, balcony key. A key stored on the doll's back. It seems to open the door to the next room from the balcony. Oh, that doll's back. He always told me, play a house like a good girl should. There is a weird implication of ownership of this place with some of these notes, these thoughts. A boy's diary. I'm gonna be a treasure hunter. I'll make sure of it. And then I'm gonna become a millionaire by finding treasure all around the world. And not just hunting treasure. A real treasure hunter sometimes takes down big, scary beasts and bad guys. And don't forget that they have to learn how to escape dangerous traps, too. I was play fighting with a girl who lives next door when Mom got mad at me. She said, what if you leave a scar on her face? Then nobody will marry her. What's all that about? I think that girl would be a really good treasure hunter, though. She always finds the hidden treasure when we play treasure hide and seek. I want to become a treasure hunter with her someday. Treasure hunter game key. A small iron key, unclear what it opens, should be related to the treasure hunt mentioned in Little Boy's diary. I see, I can give it a try. There was no clues, right? It just said treasure hunt. Like manga, kinda. So I assume I'm just supposed to open all the boxes? And there's not like a hint about which one's the correct one. I'm slightly paranoid that the first one you use might consume the key or something, but there's just a billion boxes out there, and I don't think there's any clue. Packing tips. A book by a well-known expert on how to carry large amounts of supplies. Increases inventory capacity. Dang. That's helpful. If we get just enough inventory capacity, I just won't have to deal with throwing out certain things to fit other things. Although I'll probably be throwing out all of the pills I find to get rid of, to free up that slot. Treasure hunt game note. You found this place too, huh? You're getting hotter. You gotta use that noggin of yours. Let the thrill of the hunt keep your spirits high. This game is so beautiful. It's like just the right combination of stylized and photorealistic when it comes to like this landscape room, like just these places look crazy. It's nice that Silent Hill looks good again because there was a dip. There was a really big dip. The entire Xbox 360 era of Silent Hill games are really ugly. The Wii one didn't fare well either. The first 4 games look great. The 5th one's alright. It was like a PSP thing, it was stylized. But once they thought that the 360 was so cool and powerful that it could handle anything, they went for photorealism way too soon. And they weirdly look less realistic and less good than like Silent Hill 2, despite having so much power. Homecoming and Downpour are ugly-ass games. They have aged so much worse than the PS2 games. You're real good at this. Not any bozo could find this one. Too bad this isn't the treasure. But points for trying. You were so close. Don't think that this doll was here originally. It could have been. Can't open the door. Just a doll just on the ground staring at it. I think it's a doll. I mean, if I'm being honest, it looks like a massager. But I think there's a face on the front of it. Because I think it looks like the thing that I got the key out of, which the game called a doll. I really can't look at it in an angle that lets me see the front of it. I think there's a face painted on the front. Yeah! You got stabbed by my doo-doo spear and died. Anyone looking around here for treasures no more than fodder for my traps. Oh no, not the punji pit. Goofy child. Where are they getting so many lockboxes? These look hard. These look expensive. Faded bride doll. An old doll in the shape of a bride made from clay. It seems to have been forgotten for a long time. The faded bride. There's a metaphor. Is this the treasure? Did I do it? Kaboom! You got blown to smithereens by my doo-doo bomb and died. I don't know how there's a poop bomb, but okay. Anyone with half a brain would know this would be a trap. Dang. I guess I don't have half a brain anymore, because doo-doo bomb got it. Got doo-doo bomb to smithereens. Is that it? I got it. Let's see. Puzzles. Five Jizo statues. Is the doll part of the puzzle? Or is it just like this old remnant that you can pick up as a fun nod? Can't open this door. I don't think I've seen anything resembling a Jizo statue yet. Also not sure where that is. Fence, building, but there's lots of buildings. Looks like a dirt floor. There's a bike. There's a bike. No fence on the left though, I don't think. do I go to this shrine? No. That almost feels like a tutorial. Bike and the fence on the left. You leave it as an offering. No. I can sell my chocolate. But that's not very helpful. I'm all paranoid. Because when we played the previous campaign, I now know that like a bunch of the cutscenes in this game just kind of cut you off from chunks of the city. And in particular, the moment we got chased at the beginning of the game, I think, is when we lost access to like half of the village and could never go there again. So I spent the rest of the game just trying to get to her freaking mailbox that I had the key for.
Where is everyone? What about Chizuruya? Maybe I'll find someone there.
I think I got there all the way at the very end, right? Which is, I think it's because we found out she explicitly has an autism diagnosis, her friend that dies at the beginning. I wonder if you can save her and that would really change the playthrough if she's present for the rest of the game. It's said that the kanji for Ebisu in Ebisugaoka holds the meaning of a person who has migrated from far away. The most fanciful theory for the origin of the town is that it was once. There's a typo. It says was once a hidden. And like, is that it was once a hidden village for Taira clan soldiers who lost the Genpei War. In the town's old customs, there are a few rules that seem like part of a secret village's code, including things like not owning dogs or washing things in the river. But whether or not it's the truth remains a mystery. Huh. They have a rule against owning dogs. So no washing stuff in the river because that would it could stain the river and give away that there's a village upriver, and no dogs because they make noise because they make tons of noise all the time. Inari-sama. The Inari-sama of Ebisugaoka has been the guardian deity that has protected this town since the old days, but they can be capricious at times. Sometimes they'll turn into a fox and steal chickens and dried persimmons. Other times they'll play tricks on children who don't listen to their parents. I also heard that when they fall in love with a woman they find desirable at first sight, they spirit her away to be their bride. It should have been me. No. Look at the little chair. What is that? Oh, it's the mailbox. Big old chunky thing. Oh. Oh yeah, that's probably a shrine. Offered the faded bride doll. I found a damaged Jizo statue in the mountains. The character for Tsuchi, Earth, can be faintly seen etched into the stone base. I wonder what will happen if I offer something that relates to the character. While we're on the topic of offerings, I remember that I offered my old doll once. My ears were met with the soothing chime of bells upon offering the item. This should do. Okay, so I'm done. It's more or less signing off the idea that I'm done and I can move on with the story. So it sounds like there's gonna, at 5 points during the story, I'm going to have to do a little puzzle where I get a special little relic and then offer it to a local statue. And then when I do all 5 of them, one for each element, I guess I'll have the sacred sword. And then I take it to the shrine that I saw at the end of last playthrough. And that'll be where we purify it. at which point I can just then beat the game, I assume, while just not using any drugs. And I'm then good to go, right? Alright. I'm glad that, yeah, they kind of just like tutorialized that whole process and made that possible to pick up on before you even start the story, really. So I get to go forward feeling like I have a handle on where the hell this is going, what I'm supposed to be doing, at least. Still, though, how does someone do that with their truck? I still need to know.